So I'm gonna tell you guys how I discovered Marilyn Manson because it's one of those things that changed my life entirely, for good or for better. Um, so there was another guy named Charlie that used to go to the skating rink that I would go to quite often, Friday and Saturday nights. And he would always have Marilyn Manson t-shirts on. And I was just like, whoa, this is pretty edgy. And this was probably, I think it was 95. So I was about 13 years old. So based on just the all right then. Based on the imagery on the t-shirts, I was like, all right, I need to check this out because I've always been, into the edgier side of music. That sounds so fucking hipster. It's ridiculous. I realize that. But, I was 9 years old. I bought NWA's Niggas for Life, which was also life-changing. It was... It is what it is. But I asked for Smells Like Children for Christmas. And I ended up getting Portrait of an American Family, which by and large is a far better album. In my opinion, it's Manson's best album, bar none. Mainly because it was all played by live musicians. I think Antichrist Superstar, a lot of the drums were programmed. There wasn't a whole lot of live drum sound on that entire album. Like, I still love it, but I love Portrait a lot more. But I got Portrait on Christmas, and I put it in my CD player, and the first thing I heard was bloop, bloop. There's no earthly way of knowing which direction we are going. And then all the fires of hell are glowing. Is the grizzly reaper mowing? Yes! Like, that was just like, holy shit. I remember getting chills throughout my entire body. And I was like, all right, I dig this a lot. Because that was the first time I ever heard Marilyn Manson musically, was Portrait. So immediately I was just like, all right, I really fucking dig this shit. It was really different, especially, 1994 was, the grunge movement was still in full swing. And Daisy Berkowitz's guitar on that, rest in peace. His guitar work on that was so original and so out of the box as far as guitarists go. They weren't like shredding guitars or anything like that. It was more like he used the volume knob to do swells, like especially Cake and Sodomy came in right after the family trip. Like the and then, in comes in, I am the god of fuck. I am the god of fuck. Like, what? So, after hearing that album the first time, I actually replayed it again just to make sure that I heard what I heard. And after that, it was solidified. I was a complete Marilyn Manson fan. I ended up getting Smells Like Children later on cassette. Actually that same day. Or the day after Christmas, I'm sorry. I ended up buying, I got a bunch of money on Christmas from my grandparents. I ended up buying Osmosis, Smells Like Children, and America Must Be Destroyed by Guar. Strange that I remember shit like that, but I do. All on cassette. And I heard Smells Like Children, and I was like, this is also different with all the interludes and everything. I later found out that all that interludes came from the Phil Donahue show, which Phil Donahue made a complete ass of himself, trying to imitate moshing, saying that, I think Manson said it best there. It's like, I think Christians consider moshing a sign of the apocalypse. And Phil Donahue was being such an ass, it's like, if I don't understand it, it must be dangerous, right? Probably not a guy that went to Woodstock. And anyway, so 96 comes around, and I find out that, late 96, October 8th, 1996, Antichrist Superstar came out. Beautiful People had been played to death before that, which I realize now. I had an edible last night listening to that song. I realized that there are a lot of notions, kind of nods to Levian Satanism, which is, it is what it is. And I remember hearing, my parents actually at the time bought Antichrist Superstar for me. And I remember putting on the first track, Irresponsible Hate Anthem. And it was, like, it's hard to imagine how I feel now, because at the time Antichrist Superstar was like my go-to thing. But now it's, it's a great album. Amazingly thought out. It's probably my favorite concept album of all time. It really is. And after that, 97, well, 96, December 26th, 1996, I saw Manson for the first time, and I got the tickets from my half-sister. My family and I drove down to Nashville, Tennessee to see my half-sister. And for Christmas, I was, she's like, hey, your present from us is over there. And it was an envelope. And I was like, money or something, right? No. It was tickets to see Marilyn Manson. And she had no prior knowledge of me liking Marilyn Manson or anything like that. But she figured, since my cousin, Becky, was into Manson, that I would be too. And I opened the envelope. Oh my God. I got a chill down my spine, like completely just like, holy shit, thank you so much. It was one of those things like, oh my gosh, I'm finally going to see Marilyn Manson. And it seems like a much longer time period than that, but, it was within a year that I saw Manson during the Antichrist Superstar tour, which is the era. If you were to ever see Manson, that was the era. He was the most pissed off, the most controversial. That was it. And I remember going to the show, and they were handing out cans of Josta. I don't know if anybody watching this, or if anybody's watching it at all, but if you're in your 30s, you probably remember Josta. It was a soda with a panther on the can. There was a guy handing out cans of Josta. Somebody actually took a full can of soda, and threw it at the guy handing out these sodas. So while we're waiting in line to get into the venue, this guy's got a fucking welt on his forehead from a can of Josta. The guy is still fucking working. That, my friend, is dedication. The dude got knocked out, stood up, and still started passing out cans of the soda. I'm probably, I hope the guy got paid a lot of money to, keep doing that. Because if it were me, dude, I'd be out there. I'd be out of there. Fuck that. It's not worth it. Fuck it. So we're waiting in line. We get there, and Becky's on the main floor, and she's like, "Oh yeah, this is the mosh pit." And my 14-year-old brain says, "Nah, don't want to be in the mosh pit," because up to that point, the only groups I'd ever seen prior to that was New Kids on the Block in 1990 and Insane Clown Posse in 95, which I went with my dad. My dad actually took me to an ICP show, and he actually fucking dug the shit out of it too. He really thought it was really cool. But so me and Dawn went up to the balcony, and I was just like, holy shit. Great fucking show. And February 14th, I saw Manson again in Toledo, Ohio. Oh, another funny anecdote from that Nashville show. I bought a stick of Marilyn Manson lipstick, which I thought would be black, but it was actually red. So I had painted it all over my mouth. Completely fucked everything up. I walked into the men's room to take a piss, and some guy was like, I think this guy's in the wrong bathroom. At a fucking Manson show. Figure that one out, right? Doesn't make sense. At 14, I was a little scrawny dude with long hair down to here. And red lipstick so terribly put on that, and this guy was giving me shit. I was like, dude, you're 20. You're probably in your 20s. Why are you giving me shit at a fucking Manson show? But the show was awesome. And then, 2 months later, February 14th, 1997, I saw Manson at the sports arena in Toledo, Ohio. And I actually was, they had bleachers leading from way up, and it was all general admission. There were no floor seats or balcony seats like there are now. It was all general admission. Basically, no matter, wherever you can stand or sit. First come, first serve kind of shit. And that show was amazing because I actually saw that show with a lot of my friends whom I made through Manson's music. And that year was different because I started to run into a lot of people that were a lot like I was, different thinkers. We'd skip school, and, there were a lot of people right around the town I grew up in we would skip school and sit on the kitchen floor of wherever we were, hanging out at, talking about religion and individuality, stuff like that. Stuff that normal teenagers talk about. I don't know if it's normal to anybody else, but we talk about that, and that was my first kind of glimpse into LaVeyan Satanism. It took me years and years and years and years and years to really delve into it. But anyway, Mechanical Animals came out in 98. My friend was impersonating Marilyn Manson on AOL. And I don't know if it was actually Manson or not, but this person actually sent him an instant message saying, "Stop pretending you're me. And then he started questioning the validity of this person's identity. And, they got into a conversation. He copied it all and showed it to me. And, like, well, what are the new songs going to be on this new album? And Great Big White World came up. And this was, it wasn't pre-internet, obviously, but it was before. I mean, this cat probably, he may have had an advanced copy that we didn't know about, but he did have the 1 and the 0 in his name. Marilyn Manson. It was actually Marilyn Manson. The 1 in place of the I and the 0 in place of the O. Like Mechanical Animals did come out. Now that album is my second favorite Manson album because it was just so different. It really was. It was very different, and it was almost cathartic to me because most of the music that I have made, anytime any kind of Manson influence comes in, it always comes from Mechanical Animals. It was so melodic. It was so, like, it was a great album. That's was the beginning of the end as far as Manson goes for me. Because Hollywood, I was actually supposed to see Manson. I don't remember when it was. It was like December or November 22nd or 23rd, 2000. My dad passed away on November 20th, and my friend had actually already gotten tickets for me. We had already made plans, and he was ticked off, that he didn't know what to do with the ticket. Me calling the day before saying I couldn't go because I was just so grief-stricken. That I was supposed to see Manson again during the Hollywood tour, but I didn't go because I didn't want to leave the fucking house. Losing a parent it's like you losing a part of your identity. Actually, that's exactly what it is. You're losing a part of your identity. So I wasn't a big fan of Hollywood. I thought I retreaded a lot from Antichrist Superstar, Mechanical Animals. There's a lot of, and after that, I was kind of like, So basically, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. That's how I discovered Marilyn Manson and delved into a lot of the darker side of humanity. But yeah. That's kind of the way it is. And you know what? I just said it, but that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Bye, guys.